Hi, I'm Mama Tree, and I'm here today with my friend Regina Lovespring from
The Welcome Ohm.
the Welcome Ohm. And we're talking about empathy and what it means to be an empath and some of our coping strategies. So hopefully you'll find that helpful. So how would you explain life as an empath if someone was asking you what that meant?
Life as an empath is different for every empath, I think. But for me, it's definitely overwhelm is the first thing that comes to mind because you just feel more than the average person. And there are a lot of empaths in the world. Probably a quarter of us are empaths, and we all have empathy skills. And yeah, it's you just feel the energy of crowds. I feel the energy of crowds, and I don't know how to decipher it at this point in my journey. So it just feels like a lot. But yeah, being an empath, I pick up on the feelings that people usually aren't allowing themselves to feel, stuffing their emotions, stress.
You mentioned crowds. How about individuals?
Individuals, I feel a little more able to maintain my grounding and maintain my sovereignty, so it's not as big of a deal unless I'm feeling kind of weak or drained of energy or something, and then it just sort of comes on me, and I don't really have a good method for keeping that from happening when I'm tired. So in that case, it's just good for me to leave the situation. But generally speaking, one-on-one is okay. It's just when it's like a group of people, or if I'm feeling sort of uncomfortable or out of my comfort zone, or uncomfortable in my own skin. Definitely groups of energy are almost impossible to navigate at this point. So it's a big deal if I go to a concert or something.
So I've heard some people call it a curse and others call it a gift, and your description so far is kind of heavy.
Yeah.
Are you leaning towards curse?
Yeah, right now it feels more curse-like. However, I know that's part of understanding it, and I'm sure this is just the beginning part of becoming comfortable with that and opening up to it being more of a gift. And I know that it is, otherwise I wouldn't have this ability, you wouldn't have this ability, and I definitely identify with a healer archetype, and so I think that has a lot to do with it. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a gift in that it helps people feel more understood. If you can say, I feel you, literally feel you. Yeah.
And do you use your empathic abilities in the work that you do in the world?
Yes, I do massage therapy, I do Reiki. So at those points I can kind of tune in and try to feel what they're going through, but at the same time trying to maintain my sovereignty, as I said. But especially if someone just wants to share, just to have a conversation and to receive empathy, then I feel good about that. It's nice to be able to assist someone in that process, because I know how valuable it is to receive empathy when I'm needing it. It's something that our culture doesn't really value as much as I think we should.
Thanks for sharing. What I understand from what you're saying is, yes, it's both a gift and a curse. And I hear you sharing that it's a little more to the side of a curse right now. And you didn't use these exact words, but it felt like there's a tension between how do I understand which feelings are mine, which feelings are yours, which feelings belong to everyone else. And I've certainly had that experience. I remember a time when I was rafting through the Grand Canyon, and it was a gorgeous week-long trip, just one of the high points of my life. And there was a woman on the trip who had was scheduled for back surgery, but because the trip was so expensive and she had made the reservation so far in advance, she had made the decision to show up and take this whitewater raft trip for a week while in pain prior to back surgery. So she was in a huge amount of pain, and she talked about it a lot. Everybody knew. We felt bad for her. One day, I inadvertently wound up sitting next to her on the boat between lunch and dinner. And while I'm going down the river, this is 3 or 4 days in, and I've been having a fabulous time. And I'm going down the river, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, I never should have done this. I hate this. This is so ridiculous. I hate every minute of this. These people are driving me nuts. I mean, I'm feeling it and thinking it and being it like it's me. It's inside of me. And I'm thinking, whoa, where is this coming from? Because I've been having a great time. And if it hadn't been so dramatically different from my true experience, I don't think I would have even known that it wasn't me. And by some gift of grace, when we get off the boats and go to make camp and have our dinner, there's another woman in the group, and she's sitting near me, and she starts talking about being an empath and working with prisoners in prisons to do some kind of group therapy, and her understanding of what it was to be an empath. And I think it was probably the first time I'd heard that. And I think I was maybe 26. And I swear she must have known. She must have known that I was just discovering this in a really visceral, physical way. And she was there to rescue me and say, this is what's going on. But we're in public, with a group that included family members and things. And so she's just really casually telling me what the heck was going on so that I wouldn't think I was losing it. And boy, did it make sense, because I really had that kind of experience a lot. Like the first time I went to Las Vegas, within 20 minutes, I was fat, I was broke, I needed lipstick, I needed shoes, I needed more money. I just felt all this desperation. I wasn't good enough, and I needed to spend money in order to be a good person. So that's how Vegas feels to me, and I don't like it there. Yeah, so I can relate. I wonder if you have any specific stories you feel like sharing.
I think the times that are most, that I notice it the most are at family gatherings. I think because the ties are so strong and I love them so much, and I don't concentrate or focus as much on staying within my energy. And even if I do, depending on the time of the year and just my state of being, I still can't really keep from taking on whatever emotions whoever is feeling. So I've noticed, particularly around Christmas the last several years, every time I go home, I'm having a great time. It's wonderful. It's Christmas. It's all lovey-dovey, and we're all together as a family. And then inevitably, I start to pick up on, whatever's in the air. And for me, it's not specific emotions that I'm identifying, but it's just an overwhelming wave of energy that kind of suddenly comes on, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And usually I can tell, if it's just a switch. If I'm feeling great and then after a while I'm really not feeling great, I'm thinking, okay, this is not me. But I still have to process it. At least I think I do at this point in my journey. And so, yeah, I've ended up just leaving, you know, going to another room, going to another building at my parents' farm, and like this last Christmas, I just had to scream it out. I was screaming so loudly, I broke blood vessels around my eyes. It was intense. Yeah, I just didn't know any other way. That's just what naturally came out of me, and I've been practicing not stifling whatever wants to come through, as long as I feel like I'm in a safe space to do that, which I was alone in a room. And then I proceeded to just cry for a while. And yeah, as I said, I didn't really feel specific emotions. I knew that my sister had been stressed out because her baby was really sick and clinging to her, and so I knew that had to do with it. And but yeah, so after I processed those emotions, I was just feeling really drained. And then my mom comes to get me to open up Christmas presents. So the timing was a little off, but you know, this is probably the third or fourth year in a row where something similar like this has happened for Christmas. So I'm just like, all right, they know what's going on now. They understand me enough to realize that I've had to, you know, express some emotion, and it's okay, and I'm gonna be fine. Just ignore the puffy eyes and I'll get back into the holiday spirit. And at that point I was holding on to a smoky quartz crystal, just to help keep me grounded and, you know, just feeling more strong with a crystal ally. Yeah, I'd say that's a specific story. I mean, like I said, it's not that I can identify the particular emotions most of the time. It's just a wave of overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.